Hey guys, it's Faye from Solarflow and I'm back with another video. Today's topic, fairies, dragons, and Bigfoot. Oh my! And oh my, oh yes, they're real. So what purpose do they serve behind the veil? And how do we know that they're real? Because we can't see them. Are they real if we can't see them? I don't know. Is gravity real? Because I can't see it either. Anyway, let's take a little deep dive, take a little walk down the interdimensionality lane. We're going to talk about how these things get in. Why do they get in? Do they mean to get in? What is their purpose? And why do we care about them? Other than them just being like really cool. Okay. So first of all, if you watch my videos, I sound like a broken record at this point where I'm always like, go watch that video. The reason that I do that is because all of these videos correlate and connect with one another. There is relevant information and topics that's in one that can be brought in to further illuminate a topic in a different one, and that's why I'll specifically mention it. But in this one, I'm going to specifically mention my video on Afghanistan, because in that one, I talked about an energetic convergence point, and that is how the Yetis, because yes, they're real also, that's how the Yetis got in. Now, the way that the Yetis were able to get in is that Afghanistan, and specifically the caves there, have a very high vibration. And the reason it is such a high vibration is because many of the caves there contain natural elements like diamonds, rubies, many crystals, making it a very high vibration location. And high vibration locations act as energetic convergence points. So let's talk a little bit more about what an energetic convergence point is. This is also the example that I gave in the Afghanistan video, and I'm going to give it again here, and then I'm going to expand on it. So imagine a pie of pizza. So it's circular, and the person who cuts it, there's a straight line here, a straight line across, here, and here. And then at the center of the pie of pizza is a convergence point where all of the slices of pizza can touch, right? The very point, the bottommost point of a slice of pizza can touch all of the other pieces, which if you look at it conversely, if you're up by the crust of the pizza, then your slice of pizza can only touch this piece next to it and this piece next to it. It can't touch all of them. So an energetic convergence point is looking at it like it's the point of the slices of all of the pizzas where they meet. Now, to bring that into a way that explains how it's an energetic convergence point of where entities can go from one dimension to another, is that imagine you're in a round corridor. So we're going to continue to go along with this circular visual representation. So it's a circular hallway, and there's doorways all around. So you can open this doorway and go into one dimension over here. You can come back out into the corridor, and then you can go into another one, and you can cross into different dimensions that way. And there could be any number of doors that are all around, and all of them go to a different dimension. In some ways, that is what certain places are like because of the vibration that they hold. They are energetic convergence points where certain things can come in. So there's certain places that you will go where you might see one thing that's very out of the ordinary, and that might be where it's a slice of pizza and there was only, it's at the higher end of it, there's only one slice of pizza next to it, so only entities from one dimension can come into it. Or you can go, there's certain places where you can see a hell lot of strange things. I haven't been there in person, but I've heard about these places. I'd like to go there one day, but I haven't been there yet. And if you guys are actually curious and interested in that, there's a YouTube series called Hellier. And it is, I believe there's 3 or 4 seasons. And it's about these like ghost hunters or spirit hunters, and how they are kind of on a quest to find different, let's say, entities. And in some of their travels, they are actually discovering how there are certain places in the United States, like Kentucky, which is one of these energetic convergence points, and where you'll see a whole lot of strange things going on, right? And there's other places all around the world that could be energetic convergence points, or it could just be where there's a door to another dimension. Now, specifically pointing to that, we're going to actually talk about Bigfoot, because Bigfoot does not come through from an energetic convergence point. Bigfoot comes through from being in a very high vibration place. You can find them mostly in the Pacific Northwest, nature, right? And if you've watched my video on Las Vegas, you know that how portals are in deserts. So because the vibration of nature is very, very pure, it acts as a location where there's doors where entities can hop in. So Bigfoot, they just kind of wandered in, for lack of like a better way of putting it. They just kind of like wandered into our domain. And Bigfoot is, it was actually shown to me that Bigfoot is kind of like I'm trying to say this in the nicest possible way, because they're seen as like dogs, but not like woof woof dogs, like stray dogs, like the kind of dogs that you would keep actually as a pet. That is the way that they are viewed on the etheric realm. Bigfoots are just very loyal. They just kind of, you know, they'll just love their caretaker. And that's it. Like they're not fussy. They don't have a lot of needs. So their purpose that they serve is that they are almost like the pets on the etheric realm, on the astral level of the benevolent beings. They love their Bigfoots. And the Bigfoots kind of like have free reign. They can roam around, and sometimes they'll just wander in and out of a dimensional door that's in the Pacific Northwest, and they'll show up there. They're very aware of us. They have absolutely no interest in us whatsoever. They just kind of like to, it's like if you have a doggy door in your house so the dog can like come in and out. That's kind of what Bigfoot is. They just kind of come wandering in and out because sometimes they want to get into like the earth plane and the nature that's in the Pacific Northwest when they, let's say, come out of their doggy door. That's Bigfoot. Fairies and dragons, very different, but very interesting. So the way that they were shown to me is that fairies and dragons are two different sides of the same coin. And they are both keepers of different parts of ourselves. Okay, so fairies, or fays, I think I understand why I always had an affinity for fairies. They are the keepers of our abilities. And what that means is that when we come here, we agree to have our memory wiped so that we can have the fullness of the experience of what it means to have, to be in a body and to be in the heavy, dense energy of Earth, and to not have access to our other abilities, right? So we are unaware. We agree to come here and we are unaware of who we are, of our interdimensional, interdimensionality. And we are also very unaware of the gifts that we have, right? So it's not to say that we're completely unaware because, hey, first of all, there are psychic channelers, right? There are mediums. I'm on YouTube talking about what's beyond the veil. These are all abilities. So we're not completely disconnected from them, right? Many of us are, and we don't know that we have these abilities, even though we all do. Yes, you included, and all of anyone who's watching this all have it. You may know what some of them are. You may not know what some of them are. You may even be working with them. Maybe not. Maybe you're just curious. But the point is we all have them. But because we come here and we don't remember that we have them, there are keepers of the abilities, of our abilities, and the keepers of those abilities in a different realm are fairies. So you might be wondering, okay, so Faye, how is it possible you don't remember your abilities, but you're here talking about this? Now, this is a great question. Because through the choices that we make in this life, and it also could be our soul purpose or our soul mission that we do come here to wake up, but we do have the ability to line up and become of a vibrational match with our fairies, where we can start to receive information from them. So for example, when I went through my spiritual awakening and I stopped drinking wine and all alcohol, and I started meditating an insane amount, I was able to connect to my ability to see beyond the veil. Before this time, I didn't necessarily know that this was one of my abilities. I always knew that I was an empath, even before I knew what an empath was, right? Which is, if you are one, you know what this is, where you can feel other people's emotions when you're around them. You can also be very clairsentient, which is where you feel the emotions of an environment that you're in. That's another ability. We already spoke about people that are psychic. Claircognizant is where you just know things and you don't know how you know them. That's also when the crown chakra is very open and like information just literally like comes and lands in your head. So these are just examples of some of the abilities. You have, again, mediums, great example of people that are very very connected to multiple dimensions simultaneously, where they are connected on the astral plane and where they connect with people's loved ones that are no longer in their physical bodies, right? Because they're not gone. They're just, look at it as in they're in a different room, but it might not be, we might not have the key to that room, but it doesn't mean the room doesn't exist, and it doesn't mean that there aren't people that don't have the key. It just means that we may not be the ones with the key, right? So there's all of these abilities that people have, and for every ability that we may know we have, there is countless abilities that we don't know that we have. So, you know, you can make choices and you can line up with your fairies and you can start to receive some information or abilities from them. Or it could be that you have agreed to incarnate into this time and in this place, and that you came specifically to tap into all of these things and to help introduce them to other people. Whatever the case is, our abilities belong to our soul. So when we are not in a physical body, disconnected from them, they are ours in their fullness of them. But until such a time that we complete our reincarnation loop, and we keep coming back here and we keep forgetting who we are and what we can do, they are the keepers of them for us. Interestingly enough, so go back to where I said that the dragons are the opposite coin of the fairies. So what that means is that just like the fairies are, let's say, the keepers of the mystical qualities of ourself, dragons are the keepers of the maybe less socially acceptable parts of ourself. So that could be either the parts of ourselves that we don't like to accept, so we reject them outright. If someone has a really bad temper, but they don't like to have the bad temper, the dragon is the keeper of the temper It is the keeper of the darker parts of ourself. Now, just like we can tap in to our fairies to receive some of our abilities from them when we're in a vibrational alignment, you can also become a vibrational match with your dragon, and you can receive some of the keepers of those darker qualities. So, for example, if someone is very rageful, think of what color rage would look like. I would liken it to be the color red. Flaming red, breathing with fire. So they are tapping into the energy of their dragon. Now, what is also so interesting about the dragon is, well, not just the dragon, the fays, all of them. How did they first come to be in popular culture? Is it that they're completely fake and they're phony? Let's follow that thought for a minute. And it came from one person's imagination that they were real. And then someone else read that and they were like, that's cool, I'm gonna hop on that. But where did it come from? Someone just dreamed it? Someone just thought of it one day? What are dreams? Dreams are very often information coming from the other side into us when we are not in a state where we're not in alignment with it. Because we are relaxed, there is no resistance, so information can come into us. That's what very often dreams are. It's information from the other side. Here's another one. A thought just pops into someone's head. What's that? Guess what? It's information from the other side. So even if you want to follow that thread and you want to say it's completely fake and it's from someone's imagination, it still came from the other side. Okay. The ability, or not the ability, this is a great, actually, if anyone here reads a lot of fantasy books, this is a great comment to put in down below, which is, if you read a lot of fantasy books and there's different authors write about dragons in different ways, how do they portray the information of the personality of the dragon? Because what they are writing is actually what is in their dragon. What is the part of themselves? They are actually revealing a part of themselves that their dragon is holding on to for them. And it's not to say, here's also the thing, let me just go back and address something. It's not to say that all of the qualities that the dragons keep are not completely socially desirable. It could be. Like if someone, again, is very rage-filled, it's really not socially appropriate to just go around like, I don't know, like crashing into other cars or like tripping people while they walk, right? Like, but it's also not to say there's not good qualities in it. Because if somebody has to go to war, for example, if someone is even, here's another one, if someone's an MMA fighter or a wrestler, they need to channel a part of themselves that they can embody the warrior in the ring or on the battlefield. So it's not that all of the qualities are bad qualities. It's just that it's not qualities that you want to constantly be carrying around with you in your day-to-day life. It's not all bad. Okay, but back to what the personalities that the authors will give to dragons, right? What would be interesting is to do a compare and contrast and to see author A, their dragon is very friendly and it's very peaceful and it knows it has this ability to breathe fire, but it's not completely comfortable with it and it doesn't really. They are tapping into what is their energetic reserve that their dragon is keeping for them in another realm. That is who they are. They are revealing to you who they are. If there is another author that writes about dragons being these tyrant dragons and they just go around breathing fire and they're pulverizing cities and they have no remorse, what are they revealing about themselves? And perhaps there is even authors that are writing about dragons that have the ability to be both. They can be loving and kind and compassionate, but they can also, when they need to be really, really tough. They're revealing those elements about themselves. So interesting, right? I'm not presently aware of any author that has written about fairies being awful because that's not what they keep. That's not the energy of what is inside of them. They are the keepers of basically magic. They are like our higher self keeping magic in another dimension for us. But if you have read a book where there's an awful fairy, let me know, comment down below, because that I need to see. I would need to read that book. So again, as always, I hope that you found this information to be interesting and insightful. I know that I have always been so fascinated and interested with mystical properties and the mystical side of life. And I am so grateful that it's something I now get to share with you guys. And I'm really grateful for each and every one of you that are here, that have subscribed, or that take the time to watch these videos and like and reach out to me privately and comment. I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you for being here. And as always, until next time, stay in the high vibration.